Are you aspiring to ace the UPSC CSE? Commence your transformational journey with the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation Course 2025. Empower your exam preparation through cutting-edge educational technology and personalized learning experiences with tech-enabled learning. Dive into concepts with animations, videos, and interactive tools designed for maximum understanding and retention. Personalized student portal. Access live classes, recorded sessions, and extensive academic resources, all at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Enroll now and step closer to accomplishing your IS dream. With the Vision IS Delhi GS Foundation Course 2025, batches starting from 31st August 5 p.m., 17th September 9 a.m., 24th September 1 p.m., 30th September 5 p.m.
So, hi, good afternoon. I hope all good. So, your modern discussion already has happened, and so has the world history. So, now we are starting with the 3 questions of art and culture. Then, and before going into the discussion part, first of all, if we look at the last 5-year trend, so there had been 16 questions from art and culture, and there has been 13 questions from modern. Then, so, and art and culture, one more thing, you have to be very cautious that don't confuse art and culture, only art and culture, because there used to be one ancient question also. So last year also, there was a question on the Vedic period, and this year also the question on Vedic period. So I don't think that it was a difficult question if you have covered the syllabus. Then it was one of the scoring section of the paper-1. In reality, this year, your art and culture, if you have done good, so done good kya? If you have studied from here, so then there would be no difficulty in scoring good in this particular portion, and very straightforward questions were there. So I hope all of you have seen the paper, all the 3 questions. So one by one, we'll go into these all questions and then a little bit of discussion related to it. But I think that you have all the paraphernalia and all the knowledge and information to write this because you have studied well. Looking at the faces, I can say that you have studied well. Then from here. चले आगे बढ़े because there are many papers to be that बहुत सारे discussion होने हैं. Your society paper is there and geography would be there after. So let's go. Very first question. So very first question, as you can see, it's on the board. Underline the changes in the I have written, but that in the society and economy from the Rig-Vedic to later Vedic period. So this was a 10-marker question, and this was the question number 1. So this is portion which you study in ancient and medieval history. And I have often said in the classes, those who are from the classes, they know it very well, that you don't need to study anything specific for ancient and medieval at the mains time. Just revise from whichever place, from whatever source you have done your ancient and medieval. Bas last mein ek bar revise kar lo. Jaise prelims mein revise karte ho, just do in that way. And this is something which you can easily write. Then, so from the Rig-Vedic period to later Vedic period. What is Rig-Vedic period? Early Vedic period. Okay. So in introduction, how you'll be starting in this question? That you will be starting with that you can start in many ways, and here the question, the introduction must be contextual. Contextual that to whose history we are talking about, who are Rig-Vedic people. So you can mention a little bit about the Aryans, then that Aryans, advent of the Aryans in 1500, and moreover, with their arrival, what started? Early Vedic age started. Early Vedic age is named after the Vedic compositions, because these people, after coming to India or the Indian subcontinent, they started to compose Veda, and the first Ved which was composed, that was Rig-Veda. So as far as the habitation of these people is concerned, or that early Vedic people is concerned, initially in which area they were residing, you have to be participative. I think this is the something which I don't make it a monologue, but you yourself, you have studied and you can tell me क्या होना चाहिए. So they lived in the Sapta Sindhu region, then, or land of the seven rivers. And what is the land of the seven rivers? Indus, the most important. And then after, the five tributaries of the Indus. What are the tributaries? So starting from Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, Satluj, and one separate river, that is Saraswati. So there were different names of these all rivers. For example, Indus was known as Sindhu. Then Jhelum was known as Vitasta. Then Chenab was known as Askini, and then Ravi, Parushni, Byas, Bipas, and Satluj, Sutudri. Then Saraswati was known, it was given two names, Nadi Tarana or Harkavati. So these are the old names of this river. Itna likhna nahi hai waise. I'm just discussing with you that what is there. So you just mention about that with the arrival of the Aryans, or with the advent of the Aryans, they started residing in the northwestern part of India, which is also called as the land of seven rivers. Moreover, can you tell me that what name they gave it to this area in the beginning, that two areas, the north and northwestern part where they were living? Aryavarth and Brahmavarth. These were the two names which were given. And in fact, Aryavarth is one such name. If you look at rituals at your home, kuch puja part hota hai, so often they recite this Aryavarth Khande, Brahmavarth Khande. So this is what. So they initially they were living in this areas. Then the question is specifically asking about society and economy. Then, so do you consider that religion is part of society or off from the society? It will be part of the society. So we will have to actually write about the socio-religious part also. Then socio-religious part also, and economy already that we are going to discuss. So let's start with come to the direct answer, that where we'll start with the socio-religious process or societal changes. So let's have a discussion on the societal changes when it comes to early Vedic period. In society, that there was not much discrimination, and women were having a respectable position in the society. There was no division like Varna or caste in the early Vedic age. In fact, there is a slok in the Rig-Veda which mentions that my father is a physician, I am a poet, and my mother is a corn grinder. So this is a famous slok or mantra, you can say, where he is mentioning physician is a Vaishya caste, and then poet is a intellectual class Brahmin, and corn grinder meaning that manual work meaning Shudra. So when this slok is mentioned and it is there in the same family, it means that there is no such type of the division in the society. Professions were recognized, but then Varna division was not there. But later on, what has happened, that when the 10th mandal of Rig-Veda was composed, then 2 to 7, mandal number 2 to 7 of the Rig-Veda were composed in early Vedic age, and 10th mandal was composed in the later Vedic age. And in the later Vedic time, the 10th mandal of Rig-Veda, there is a part which is called as Purusha Shukta. And Purusha Shukta mentions fourfold division of the society on the basis of the birth. Then, so what is fourfold division of society? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So this is the change, that earlier there was no such division in the society, but now division is happening. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And what does it mean? That this Varna system became ascriptive. Ascriptive ka matlab that if your father is Brahman, so you will also be Brahman. Meaning that if he is doing the work of the intellectualism, so then you will also be involved in the intellectual work. So that is the change number one. Then moreover, other societal changes, let's have a look at it. Let's look at the position of the women in the society. So position of the women in the society was very good in the early Vedic period, and what all things were open to the women. First of all, love marriage was open to the women. Then that in their own community, but love marriage they can do, which was called as Gandharva Vivaha. Then apart from it, there was other thing that they had political rights. What political rights? They were the part of the Sabha and Vidhat. There were three political organizations, Sabha, Samiti and Vidhat. Though they were not part of the Samiti, but they were part of the Sabha and Vidhat. And the most important assembly, political assembly in the early Vedic age was Sabha. Then, and women were part of it. Vidhat, they were also the part of it. Then what about the educational discourses? Educational discourses were open to women at that point of time. And the best example that we give from the early Vedic age or Rig-Vedic age is the Lopamudra. She was often involved in many intellectual debates. Then apart from it, let's come to the marriage part. As we mentioned, that what all women were allowed to choose their own spouse under Gandharva Vivaha. But there is a change that Gandharva Vivaha, and moreover no instances of child marriage. Then widow remarriage was also there in the early Vedic age or Rig-Vedic age. And widow remarriage was called as Niyog Vivaha. So this is part. What is there in the later Vedic age as far as this is concerned? Now no more love marriages happening. Women were no more that Sabha, no more part of the Sabha, meaning one political right has gone. Second is that what we mentioned, some Vidhat. So Vidhat was completely disappeared at that point of time. So now women are not enjoying any political right. What about the educational discourse? It is intact. So educational discourse, still it was intact, and women were still allowed to participate in the educational discourses. The best example from the later Vedic period is the Vidushi Gargi, then who was involved in a debate with the Rishi Yajnavalkya. So that is so in this scenario, there is no change. But in the marriage scenario, there is a change that women are not allowed to go ahead with the love marriage. And in fact, there are different type of the marriages emerged in which even the forceful marriage also started to happen. So this is the situation of the women. Then let's have a look at the slavery. So was there slavery in the early Vedic age? Yes, it was there. Then Das and Dasyu. And the same continued in the later Vedic age also. So no change in this one. Then ritual sacrifices. In which part, just please don't have discussion with each other. You can change the seats then, since it is a compact discussion, because whereby everyone will come after that once I have finished, so then other courses can be finished. So please cooperate in the class. So what I was saying, ritual sacrifices. So ritual sacrifices as far as the animal sacrifice is concerned, where it was more prominent, early Vedic or later Vedic? Later Vedic. And tell me the ritual sacrifice name. Ashwamedh, Vajapeya and Rajasuya. So most important was the Ashwamedh. Then, and let me tell you, Rajasuya is that coronation ceremony. Some sort of animal sacrifice is happening. Then Vajapeya is the sports event which is organized by the king to win the trust of the people. But there also animal sacrifice is happening. And Ashwamedh, indiscriminate animal sacrifice was happening. There are the instances where it has been mentioned that at the end of that, many a times at the end of the Ashwamedha Yajana, what was happening, that the horse who was the part of it was sacrificed or was culled along with 21 sterile cow and more than 200 bulls. So this is an indiscriminate animal sacrifice. But these type of the instances we haven't seen in the early Vedic age. Then, so this is another change. Then one more change, very important thing, is that the Gotra has been mentioned in the early Vedic time. And what is the source of the Gotra? I hope you understand, you know about the Gotra. Ancestry from the common ancestry of the people. Then, and initially it was named after the Gotras were after the divine rishis of that time. So the most famous Sapta Rishis, and with the Sapta Rishis the Gotra system emerged. But then more consolidation of the Gotra system has happened in the later Vedic age. And what is this consolidation? That exogamy in the matrimonial alliance. What is exogamy? Sagotriya Vivaha cannot happen. I hope you're understanding this Hindi word. What is Sagotriya? If the two people, they are Brahmins only, but they belong to, suppose they both of them belong to the Bharadwaj Gotra, marriage cannot happen. So exogamy of Gotra, it was perpetuated. Then apart from it, another development in the later Vedic age is the emergence of the 16 samskar, 16 samskar. Then it is said that in a Hindu life, one must observe 16 samskar. And it is also said that the ultimate aim in the Hinduism is the attainment of the Purusharth, and in the Purusharth, the last is the moksha. So if you don't go through the 16 samskar, so moksha will be elusive to you. So performance of the moksha becomes very important. This is the change. There was no such thing in the early Vedic age. Now it is happening in the later Vedic age. Then apart from it, after 16 samskar, next important thing is basically ashram system. There was no mention of the ashram vyavastha in early Vedic age, but then 3 ashrams. So 3 ashrams emerged during the later Vedic age, and the 4th ashram emerged at the time of the Buddha, so 6th century BC. So that is also the end of the later Vedic age. But what are these ashram? Batao. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. So these are the 4 stages of life. Brahmacharya, where this is a study period. Grihastha, married life and the responsibilities of the married life. And Grihastha ke baad, Vanaprastha, partial retirement from the family life, meaning that you are seeking the higher knowledge. Then you're coming back to home, but you're seeking higher knowledge for some duration. And finally, when you have fulfilled all your familial responsibilities, so then you have to seek the higher enlightenment, that is the moksha, through the process of the sannyas. So these are the developments in the society which has happened from the early Vedic to later Vedic. Let's talk about the economy. So बहुत simple और straightforward question पूछा है, ऐसा लगा कि vision का assignment दिया है तुम्हें. So now understand. So then economy में what changes were there? Very first thing, that what was the most important economic wealth in the early Vedic age? Cattle. Okay? So cattle was the most important economic wealth. In fact, there were many names of the cattle which were mentioned in the early Vedic age. So for example, cattle was revered with the Gavisthi, then Gavya, Gavyu, Duhitri, then Godhuli, Godhuma, then. So these all names, Goghana, Aghanya, these all are the words which are mentioned in the Rig-Vedic. They all highlight the economic importance of the cattle. So now, cattle was the most important economic wealth. In fact, there were many feuds, there were many fights related to the cattle. If we go into the mythology, or not exactly mythology, because Mahabharata, some instances are said to be true. So, in fact, if you go to the events of the Mahabharata, in fact, it is said that the entire Mahabharata ongoing or the beginning happened with the feud on cattle. And this feud was between whom? 2 people. One is the guru of the Pandavas. Who is the guru? Dronacharya. And his friend Drupad. So they were the best friends, and they have fought for the cattle. And that's how, so Drupad felt humiliated, and what he has done, that he has done a yagya to take the revenge with the Dronacharya, and then that's how the birth of Draupadi has happened, and so has the his son Drushtadrumna. So this is. So cattle was even highlighted as the most important thing in the Mahabharata, somehow connected with the early Vedic history. So now understand, so cattle was the most important economic wealth. Second important economic wealth was 2 of the agricultural commodities, and 2 of the agricultural commodities were Yava and Godhuma. So Yava was what? Barley, and Godhuma was wheat. So they were the secondary commodities. But then, what about the taxation system in the early Vedic period? Voluntary taxation. It is not a formal taxation, voluntary taxation, meaning that people, they themselves were contributing towards their kings or heads of their communities. Then moreover, what about the knowledge of the gold? So little bit of gold was used at that point of time. Then that gold was referred as nishk. So knowledge of the gold was there with them. Then let's come to the later Vedic period. What are the changes which has happened in the later Vedic period as far as the economy is concerned? One major change, I would say, that the later Vedic starts from that, as far as the division is made, discovery of the iron. And for the first time, the humanity has got the knowledge of the iron, and iron was discovered from the western UP, the areas like Atranjikheda and Jakhira. And then iron transformed the entire discourse of the later Vedic history as far as the economy is concerned. Because with iron, the sharpest of the tools can be created, and tool making industry further got impetus. Moreover, with these tools, what they are doing, they are clearing the dense forest of the upper Gangetic plain, and so as they are entering into the central part of India also and the eastern part of India. So earlier in the first part we mentioned that they called north and northwestern India as Aryavart and Brahmavart, but now these areas will be called as Purvakhand and Madhya Desh. Then so when they are entering into the eastern India, that is called as the Purvakhand, and then the central India is the Madhya Desh. So meaning that expansion of the people of the Vedic age is happening. Then moreover, when they are clearing the dense forest, so they are clearing for what? For agricultural land. And this is the most fertile belt of India, because the Himalayan rivers, they bring hell lot of silt and moraine, which is very fertile. And now the most important economic wealth in the later Vedic period became Rashtra. So land was referred as Rashtra in the later Vedic period. So early Vedic period, most important economic wealth, cattle. So many names. And then after this time, agricultural land is the most important, and it is highlighted from the word Rashtra. Even Rashtra is also indicative of building of the big territorial states also. So big territorial states also. So earlier the fights were happening for the cattle, to secure more cattle, but now the fights are happening to secure more land. And Ashwamedh Yajna was associated with this expansion of the land itself. Then moreover, what about the trade and other things which are happening at this point of time? So it is by the age of the Buddha, which is basically 6th century BC, the first Panchmark coins made its entry into India, and these Panchmark coins were made from silver. So earlier there was a barter system, but now the barter has been replaced by the coinage system. In fact, there is one of the oldest coin of India associated with the religion. I don't know you have heard or not, but some of you must have heard, Karshapan. So Karshapan beginning also happens from this point of time, which is part of the religious rituals also, and then so as it is used in the trade also. Now understand, so trade there is a beginning of the metallic coins also, usage of the metallic coin. Then moreover, that apart from it, in economy, that when it comes to taxation. So taxation for some time, you can say that for the greater time of the later Vedic period, it was the voluntary taxation, Bhag and Bali. But then with the emergence of the Mahajanpadas, Bhag and Bali will convert into a compulsory taxation. So formal taxation system also start by the rear end of the later Vedic age. So these are the changes which has happened. Then it's just about that if you write good, if you bring a little bit of more information in question, so definitely you will score well. And it's a scoring question. Then let's move on to the second question. So I have just written some parts of it. Then
Completing the syllabus without proper knowledge of current affairs will not take you far in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Regulate and transform your preparation with complete coverage of news of relevance. Get a concrete hold of current affairs for UPSC CSE with Vision IS Monthly Current Affairs Revision Program starting from 20th September at 5 p.m. The program is your guide to get comprehensive news on one platform sourced through relevant resources such as The Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB, Yojana and others. Enroll for complete coverage of current affairs including Indian polity and constitution, economy, international relations, and more. Comprehensive assessment of preparation through MCQs and mains-oriented questions. Expert support through personalized mentoring and online doubt resolution.
so second one, question number 2, estimate the contribution of Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. So they have specifically mentioned Pallavas of Kanchi. Basically, this is what you study. And Pallavas of Kanchi, their beginnings are from 600 AD. Then, but actually, when you look at the history of the Pallavas, so Pallavas are from 275 actually. Nobody knows that they were in the court of the Satavahanas. Then, but they were not as a ruler. They have become a strong dynasty by the end of the 6th century AD, and then under the Mahendravarman, they started to rise. So the question is asking about the Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. In this part, there is a one part where people were tricked. Then I would not say that it was easier as the previous question, because the art part you might be knowing. Literature was something which has given a little bit of headache to people. Then and a little bit of headache, or maybe that they were not able to do the justice with the literature part, because generally that literature you study but you don't know in exam situation कि कहाँ से इसको लेके आए लिखने के लिए. Then so let's have a discussion first with their architecture, and then we'll talk about the literature part. So Pallavas is 600 AD, and then they are the one who are attributed with the ongoing or the beginning of the Dravid architecture. So they are the one who finally led to the development of the Dravid temple style. And how it all started? So it all started with the Mahendravarman, and Mahendravarman in Tamil Nadu. So he started, there are 4 stages of the development of the Dravid temple. So, and these 4 were associated with the Pallava rulers, Mahendravarman, then his son, Narasimhavarman, then after Rajasimhavarman, and the last one was the Nandivarman. So, Mahendravarman's time, that you can have a look at this, that rock cut shrines were created at these places called Mandagapattu, Mamandur, and there are 3-4 more places. So what was this rock cut structure in the beginning? That rocks were given a chamber shape, and they were internally cut, and after internally cut, the images of the gods or the idols of the gods were placed, and then after the worship tradition started. So this is initiated by Mahendravarman. But then after it, Mahendravarman's son was Narasimhavarman. And in history, you must have studied that Narasimhavarman was the one who defeated and killed Pulakeshin II, then Chalukya ruler. So Narasimhavarman, he has gone ahead with that the oldest rock cut living structures of India, which is called as Pancharath at the Mahabalipuram. And these Pancharath are in a line. Mahabalipuram is also known as Mamalapuram. And these Pancharath are in line. So it starts with that Dharmaraj Rath, then Bhim Rath, Arjun Rath, Nakul Rath, and Sahadev Rath. And then last one is the Draupadi Rath. So Nakul Sahadev is a combined Rath, and then after all of them are separate Rath. Moreover, in this, that this is a rock cut structure. This is not a structural temple. So this is a new thing. Then apart from it, at the same place, there is a very big relief sculpture. What is relief sculpture? Meaning that a big rock piece is there, and on that rock, sculpture panel is created. So in this sculpture panel, this question has been asked in the prelims paper also. Then Arjuna's penance and the relief sculpture of this place. So it has a depiction of large number of animals. Then and then the image is like that there is a one rock on this side, there is a one rock on this side, and in the middle there is a cleft. Cleft ka matlab thoda sa gadha hai. Then and in the cleft also they have depicted some sort of images. So on one hand, there are many interpretations are given about this image. So what is this interpretation? Understand that some of the historians say that on one leg somebody standing like this, it is the Arjuna's penance, Arjun ka paschatap. Then and some people say that Arjun is praying Lord Shiva to get that divine weapon Pasupat. Then so that divine weapon, that is one thing. Then some say that it is the depiction of the Bharavi's literature, Kirtarjunium. Then so this is first. Second depiction or second interpretation, sorry. Second interpretation is said that it is not Arjun, it is Rishi Bhagirath. Then and Rishi Bhagirath is praying to Lord Shiva that release the Ganga from his jata. Then and that's how on his request. So what is happening, that Ganga is released, and then it is the arrival of the Ganga river on the earth. So this is the two depictions which they talk about. But there is a one funny element also, that the way Arjun is doing the penance on one leg, similarly one cat is also doing the penance on one leg. Then so it gives a fun element over here. And moreover, people interpret that whatever the great people of that time were doing, their aura and their power, divine power, was so authentic that even the animals used to follow it. Then so that is This question has been asked in the prelims also, and I think that most of you have seen the sculpture also. But then you need to take it seriously. अगर देखा नहीं है तो. Then let's come to the painting part of the Pallavas. So mural painting, when you study painting section, and particularly when you study the mural paintings. What is mural painting? The wall painting tradition. So wall painting tradition, we all start whichever place, okay? You are studying, or if you have studied over here, so we start our discussion with the Ajanta. Then, so Ajanta is considered as the mother of the many such mural paintings. But then in South India, so murals start with the patronage of the Pallavas. And these murals, so before going into it, Mahendra Varman, the first founder from the 600, he is given a title of Chitrakar Puli. I'll tell you three titles which were given to him. One title which was given to him, Vichitta Chitta. Then, so Vichitta Chitta meaning that the one who is a curious mind. Then the second title, Chitrakar Puli, master of all the Chitrakar or the painters. Then he was also called as the tiger among all the people who had the skilled knowledge. Then his paintings, where it is created, so Kailasnath temple, which is the third step, that Kailasnath temple, there you can find paintings based on that Hinduism. Then Pan Malai temple, there also based on Hinduism, these paintings are there. But moreover, Pallavas paintings are also there in the Jain caves of that area, and very famous area. There are two names mentioned of this cave. Some books mention as a Arma Malai and some mention as a Anna Malai. Then, so whichever be the name, so paintings were related to the Hindu tradition and the Jain tradition. And these paintings are mural paintings, basically wall paintings of that time. Then when it comes to literature part, this is where majority of you must be thinking that ye kahan se pucha hai. So I'll give you just one idea that in an exam situation, when you are not able to see that jaldi mein yaad nahi aa raha hai, that from where I should be writing it, just go back to the timeline. In this timeline, what must have happened in the geography of the southern India. And when we talk about that timeline of the Pallavas, so Pallavas is 600 to 900, that was their confirmed period, and they were replaced by the mainline Chola. Vijayalaya Chola, who replaced them in 890. So in this duration, what kind of religious or literature movement is going on? Any idea? देखो मैं ये नहीं बता रहा हूँ कि exact, देखो whatever things which written over here, Bhagavad-juka and Mattavilas Prahasan at done, it is a Prahasan. I will say no one will write, and no one has written also. Then very rarely there would be someone who will be writing these two names which were written by, or these two books which were written by Mahendra Varman, because generally it is not mentioned. So in this situation, when you don't know this, so what you'll do? Batao to kuch. I'll tell you. What was the major literature or the major movement in India at that point of time, 6th to 9th century, was the Bhakti movement, Allavars and Nayanars. Then, so after the end of the Sangam assembly, then where is Kanchi? Tamil Nadu. So obviously that Tamil association would be there. And then moreover, Allavars and Nayanars, after the end of the Sangam assembly, they are the one who started writing then that simple poems in the Tamil language. And these simple poems, who were Alvars? Devotee of Lord Vishnu. Alvars were writing Prabandha Kavyam. Then, and Nayanars were writing Tevarams. So in simple Tamil language, they were writing, they were popularizing. And who were the rulers of Tamil Nadu at that time? Pallavas. So obviously it is happening under their patronage. This is a risk little bit you can take, and this is not a wrong risk because you have to apply your mind. Then apart from it, one of the very greatest creation in this period by the devotees of the Lord Vishnu, which is even till this date very much recited inside all the Dravid temples, and just like that many mantras are recited in the northern temples. So from Nalaira Divya Prabandham, the mantras are recited in the temple. Then, so Nalaira Divya Prabandham was also written at this point of time. Then, the next one is that Dandin. Okay? So I have mentioned over here Dandin was a Sanskrit scholar. When you read Sanskrit literature, so there you come across the name of the Dandin. And Dandin was known for writing this Avanti Sundari. But then apart from it, there were many other Sanskrit literature he has written. So he was in the court of the second ruler, Narasimhavarman II, then Pallava. So even Sanskrit was also patronized at this point of time. So understand one thing, that though we can say, if you know, from here onwards everybody will know that what was the literature in Sanskrit which was written by this particular ruler, Mahendravarman, Bhagava Dajjuka and Matvilas Prahasan. But then exam situation में ये याद नहीं आएगा. तो जो याद आएगा, क्या याद आएगा? Bhakti literature. Just look at the time period, what was written at that time. If you write that much with little bit of logic, because you need to fit the logic in the paper, and that will solve a little bit of your problem. In fact, though in this question, so I would say that it is not half-half. समझ रहे हो? Half-half का मतलब कि art would be, it is 10 marker question, so art would be 5 marks and literature would be 5 marks. I don't think. Arts are just single name. So art में paintings and architecture, everything will come. And literature would be 1/3. So according to my logic, it will be 2/3 and this would be 1/3. So if you have not written the literature part, so consider that you will be getting marks out of 6.66. Then, and if you have written the literature, even little bit of this particular part, that Alvar and Nayanar, so then you will get 1 extra marks. So this is about this particular question. I hope you understood. Then let's move on to the last question.
Climb the ladder of success for the UPSC Civil Services examination with expert mentoring. Preparation for this important examination can both be daunting and challenging. However, with the support of personalized mentoring, you can embark on your journey with structured guidance. ACE Prelims and Mains 2025 with Lakshya Mentoring Program starting from 26th September. This integrated program offers tailored guidance to deliver personalized mentoring to the students through regular monitoring and feedback. Prepare your strategic roadmap with expert mentoring and evolve your preparation with guidance to cover prelims and mains syllabus, one-on-one mentoring, personal assessment and feedback, Sandhan personalized test, interactive sessions with toppers.
So this is not something which they haven't asked. And just understand that often I say in the class that if you do the architecture chapter, your 50% of syllabus is over. पिछले 5 साल का पेपर देखो तो I would say that your 75% of syllabus is over just by reading architecture, the way the question have been asked. Let's look at the previous year paper questions. Then last year there was a question, Rig-Vedic question was already there, and then uske alawa what was there? Hoysala question. So Hoysala temples in the mains examination, this year prelims examination. Then they have asked about the importance of the bull, lion, okay, and horses, these all animals which are depicted on the Indian temples, what is their importance? Then, so very frequently the questions from temple has been asked. Another thing we will have to note that in last 5 years, the question that they have asked, they are basically from the regional dynasties of the different parts of India. So you will have to be very well versed about it. That today, this year, Pallava and Cholas, then Hoysalas, then so this way, Hoysalas, then earlier they have asked one question from the Pal dynasty. I think it was in COVID ke ek saal pehle. Then 2019 mains paper. So regional dynasty, their art and literature and painting architecture development is becoming important in these in past few years. So you can give special emphasis to these dynasties. Then, so now let's have a look at this question, and I'll tell you one more question related to it, which was asked 10 years back. So through the great Cholas, though the great Cholas are no more yet, their name is still remembered with great pride because of their highest achievement in the domain of art and architecture. Then comment. So you need to talk about their highest achievements in the art and architecture. So that, and which Chola we are talking about? The great Cholas. Who are the great Cholas? Early Cholas or the later Cholas? Later Cholas. Then, and those who foundation was laid at the time of the Vijayalaya Chola in 890. So from there onwards, you need to write. So you can mention about a little bit about them in introduction, and then after let's go on to their architectural achievements. Then, so what we have mentioned that when it comes to architectural achievement, so though you can start with that though the Dravid temple art initiated under the Pallavas, but it reached its climax or the apogee stage under the Chola rulers. And moreover, the best of their creation was the Brihadeshwara temple of the Tanjore. N number of the time we have had discussion in the class that what is unique about the Brihadeshwar temple. So it was the largest temple premise in India. Its foundation was laid in 1011 AD by Raja Chola, and moreover, this is considered as one of the architectural wonder of India. So as per the detail, its tower, that particular Viman part only, it's 61-meter high, and there is a octagonal cupola which is also very heavy. Then moreover, puzzle technique was used in the creation of this temple or interlocking pattern. Then moreover, this particular temple has stood the test of the time and all the hazards which are associated with the nature. In fact, it has been created in such a way that even earthquake will not have much impact on it. And in fact, 1000 saal ho chuke hain. There hasn't been much impact of any such uneventful thing on this particular structure. But now it is very unfortunate that you must have read that Taj Mahal started developing crack from this year. And then many structures are falling off. But then here, this was the admixture of the science and technology which was employed from the ancient time, and it is still going strong. So there were 3 important temples which they have created, and these all have been in UNESCO heritage list. So दो का नाम तो मैंने यहाँ लिखा है, Brihadeshwara temple. Then second is Gangaikonda Choleshwaram temple. It was created by Rajendra Chola when he defeated the Ganga dynasty ruler, Pal dynasty ruler Mahipal. And then after, when he is returning back to South India, so on the banks of the Kaveri, he created a new city, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, and then also this temple. So temple, architecture-wise, it is very similar to Brihadeshwara. Then another temple which was created by them, Airateshwar temple, and it is in the same premise. So it is named after the elephant of the Lord Indra, and white elephant of the Lord Indra, Airateshwar. Okay? So Airavat. So Airateshwar is a smaller as compared to this one, but still it is one of the beautiful creation of theirs. Now, so inspirations were taken from this temple, and then onwards further it was improvised by the Vijayanagar rulers and so as the Nayak rulers. You can mention about it. Now let's come to the sculpture part. So as far as the sculpture tradition is concerned, bronze casting was already there at the Pallava period, who were immediate precursor to the Cholas. So bronze casting was there, but the best of the sculpture of India was created during their period. And what is that? Nataraj. So there are some laboratories in the world, scientific laboratories. At the gate of it, it has been installed. If I'm right, so it is CERN laboratory, not NASA. Earlier, I believe that it was NASA, but then it has been installed. And what is Nataraj symbolic of? The cycle of the creation and the destruction. Then, moreover, in this particular Nataraj image, what is depicted, that Lord Shiva, he is in a Bhujang Trashita posture, whereby with one of his leg, he is suppressing a demon, and the name of the demon is Apasmara. And then one of his leg is in the Bhujang Trashita stance, which means that he is kicking the veil of Maya. Okay? Maya ka parda with one of his leg. And then after, one of his hand is in the Dolahast, meaning that he is giving the beat through his musical instrument, Damru. And then after, there is a Jwal Mala. So Jwal Mala, what is Jwal Mala? That there is a mala or garland of the flames. And then there is a Abhay Hasta also. What is the Abhay Hasta? Abhay Hasta is depiction that though Lord Shiva is in his aggressive phase, but then his devotees must not fear. Or the people must not fear that it will lead to some sort of bad to them. It is only for the demonic things. So that is Nataraj sculpture, and it is the most celebrated sculpture of India. So, एक बार फिर से वापस क्वेश्चन पे दाओ. The great Cholas are no more yet. Their name is still remembered. So their name is still remembered. इसमें कुछ current से अगर लेके आओगे तो इस question में ज़्यादा number पाओगे. Now let's come to the very important. I would go with the Sengol then. So I hope all of you saw the Sengol then. And moreover, majority of that, some of the people, they went on to write in the exam. It's good that their mind was working, that they wrote about the Sengol. But then large chunk of people who have written mains, I've talked to them, they did not wrote about Sengol. So अगर जो आज के टाइम पे नाम रिमेंबर हो रहा है तो Sengol you must write because it was highly politicized also and it was so much in the news. So Sengol in the Sanskrit language we'll call it Raj Dand, ठीक है? And Dand is not related to punishment. Dand is the stick, ठीक है? And it is indicative of the rule of the constitution, rule of the written laws. Then, so this is what is the tradition which started from the which period? Chola period. And this is a silver sceptre which is coated with the gold. So this is indicative of that this is the Raj Dand and it is indicative of that now there will be the rule of the constitution, not anything else. Then, so this symbolism, if you also write, that's fine. Then music. So as far as the Carnatic music is concerned, Carnatic music clearly developed at the time of the Purandhar Das, then that he is considered as the grand old man, and Purandhar Das timeline was somewhere around 1400 then. But then there is a background of his music also. So basically Allavars and Nayanars, about whom we mentioned lastly, their composition, Tevaram, Tevakrams and Prabandha Kavyams, they were the one which were highly used in the Tamilkam society. People were singing, people were playing the music. So inspiration of the Carnatic started from here. But then directly Cholas ko attribute mat karna. Okay? I have seen that some places it has been mentioned directly. That's not correct. Then indirectly it will be there. Then when it comes to some places, even dance is also mentioned. But then dance mein, we can only talk about the Devadasi system, which was prevalent in those times. And what was Devadasi? These were the ladies, and ladies who were performing in front of the god and in their service. So Devadasi system was prevalent in the Chola period, and moreover, with Devadasi system, which classical dance of India emerged? Bharatnatyam. So that also, if you remember, you can mention a little bit. Let's come to the paintings. So paintings, the earliest of the mural painting. So here also, no miniature, it is just mural, wall paintings. And the earliest painting of the Cholas were in this temple, Vijay Choleshwaram temple. And then after, best of the paintings are there in the Brihadeshwar temple itself. So whose painting is created in it? So I have written a name, Tripurantak Shiva. Okay? So Tripurantak Shiva, meaning that the Shiva who is winning all the three the parts of the universe, and moreover that in the Tripurantak form he slays the demons. Then so that has been mentioned, that has been depicted. Then royal figure paintings is basically that even the people from the royal household, their big paintings were also created on the walls of the temple. The one best painting which is surviving in the Chola Brihadeshwara temple is the Raja Chola himself and with his Guru Karuvavarar. Then, so this painting is surviving. Then, moreover, so combining this all, you can always mention about it that go ahead with the some sort of saintly wisdom or some sort of even scientific wisdom also you can mention in the last of this question. So now, these were the three questions. Tell me that haven't you studied even a little bit about it? Kuch to bolo. You have studied a lot about it, and see that when we go in a discussion, in any discussion, it's an ideal answer that we give to you. और एग्जामिनेशन सिचुएशन में कभी आइडियल आंसर नहीं लिखा जाता है, ठीक है? सो इवन यू आर 70% क्लोजर टू इट, इट्स अ बेस्ट ऑफ द आंसर. So it's the best of the answer, and moreover that always your expression comes to a play, that how will you justify what vocab you are using and what ways you are appreciating, then so that सामने वाले को लगे कि actually में appreciate कर रहे हो, सिर्फ लिखने के लिए नहीं लिख रहे हो. So then I think that this year paper, it was a saving grace, and even you have seen the modern also. Both the questions were very easy. I think Simon Commission also, and then, not sorry, Quit India, and then English, हाँ, British Revolution, Industrial Revolution in Britain. So easy, world history का question मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूँगा, सर ने बताया होगा. Then, so now this session is over. Then, if you have any question, you can ask. Then I'll give it to the Smriti ma'am. चाइल्ड मैरिज, देखो चाइल्ड मैरिज इवन लेटर वैदिक पीरियड में भी इंस्टांसेस नहीं है, ठीक है. लेटर वैदिक पीरियड में भी इंस्टांसेस नहीं है, बट देन वी गेट द इंस्टांसेस ऑफ द चाइल्ड मैरिज फ्रॉम द महाजनपदा पीरियड. सो कहीं पे भी वी विल नॉट कमेंट ऑन द चाइल्ड मैरिज. देन वी विल ओनली राइट दैट चाइल्ड मैरिज इंस्टांसेस वर नॉट नोटिस्ड ड्यूरिंग बोथ द पीरियड्स. देन यू आर आल्सो आस्किंग.
सर हम जैसे वेदों के अंदर भी एक इवोल्यूशन देखते हैं कि कर्मकांड से उपनिषद की तरफ पहुंचता
बिल्कुल
है.
बिल्कुल.
तो क्या ये उपनिषद का कंपोजिशन लेटर वैदिक पीरियड में ही हुआ
yes,
था?
लेटर वैदिक पीरियड.
तो ये भी मेंशन कर सकते हैं?
बिल्कुल, एकदम लिख सकते हो, ठीक है. सी दैट अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन यू हैव आस्क्ड. दैट सो बेसिकली दैट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द वैदिक लिटरेचर, एक बार ध्यान से समझना दैट इट इंक्लूड्स द वेदास, देन 4 वेदास, एंड दीज 4 वेदास डिस्कशन यू कैन डू लेटर, ठीक है. पहले मुझे सुन लो. मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता है कि मेरे होते हुए किसी और को देखो. So now understand. So Vedic literature, 4 Vedas, and the mantras of the Vedas, they are called as Vedic Samhita. So Vedic Samhita, Rig-Veda, what we generally discuss, that is the Rig-Veda Samhita, then Yajurveda Samhita, Samveda Samhita, and Atharvaveda Samhita. These are the mantra. Then after, Vedic literature has its layers. Then there are the explanatory text of the Vedas, which are called as, it starts with the Brahman, Aranyak, and Upanishad. So when it comes to the Brahman, so it talks about the guideline, it gives the guidelines to the performance of the Vedic ritual. Aranyak deals with the mysterious aspects which are there in the Vedas. And then Upanishad deals with the final aim of the life, that philosophy of the Veda. So there is a progression from karma kand, but karma kand to the jnana kand we can mention. That also you can very well mention. Then,
और सर
good.
पॉलीएंड्री को लेके क्या?
पॉलीएंड्री को लेके we will say that only in that good instance, though not documented, as we all know that it is not documented because Vedas existed in the Shruti form. But then when we considered the Mahabharata story is true, then so polyandry was tolerated in the society because Draupadi herself had 5 husbands. Then so it was tolerated. But then what can be said confirmly, that is the polygamy. Polyandry, we can always mention that there are instances of the polyandry which are seen in the period.
तो ये अर्ली और लेटर में दोनों
See
में
that question यहाँ पे आता है कि महाभारत को किस में रखते हो. And if we go by the Mahabharat battle, one battle which is mentioned in the history, that is 950 BC in some of the books, then so we will keep it in the later Vedic age. Done? Any other question? Chalo, it's all good. I hope you have understood. Then so that's what the rest of the resources. If you want to be in touch with me, so there are some links related to mine, then that my channel of on YouTube, Culture Quantum, and so as my Telegram channel. So where some of the things related to the exam preparation I do post on the channel, and then so as on the this particular part. And this is my recently authored book, which took 2.5 years. Now it is there. So you can see that if it is beneficial to you or not. So I'm passing on the that next session to the Smriti ma'am. I'll just send her to this place. Chalo, thank you.